The transfer portal has completely changed the game of college football. In some people's eyes, they think it's for the better. In some others, they think it's a terrible thing, the worst thing ever. But either way, it is the game that is going to be played today, and it's going to be played with the transfer portal. And in today's video, I want to talk about some of the more underrated college football team transfer portal hauls for the 2024 class, right before the start of the 2024 season. Now, obviously, there's going to be another edition of the transfer portal post-spring football where there will be so-called a second wave. However, this will focus on the first wave that happened in December to the current date of the recording of this video, which is currently around mid-late February. Before I move on, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get into it. The first team I'm going to be talking about in today's video is Texas Tech. Now, Texas Tech is coming off a 2023 campaign in which going in, they had some of their highest expectations in that football program in quite some time. Did they meet those expectations of being a Big 12 title contender and finishing as a top 4 team in conference? No. They ended up 6-6 in the regular season, but they would in fact win their bowl game versus Cal to finish the year off with a winning record at 7-6. However, the video today isn't about their 2023 campaign. It is about an underrated transfer portal haul that I believe needs more attention, and we're going to be talking about their transfer portal haul. Texas Tech has had, in my opinion, one of the more underrated hauls in all of college football in regards to the transfer portal. Is it the highest ranked in the nation? No, it is not. But if it was the highest ranked in the nation, it wouldn't be underrated. It is currently ranked number 31 in the transfer portal team rankings by 24/7 Sports. They currently have 13 total commits, 2 of which being 4 stars, 10 of which being 3, and 1 not being ranked. In the transfer portal, Texas Tech got players like former Arizona State tight end Jalen Conyers, that in my opinion was a star on their team the past couple seasons and one of the best true tight ends in the transfer portal. And he has great size and he has athleticism with that size, and I believe he can be a problem in this offense. Not only that, but they also got John Carlos Miller II, another tight end who comes from the FCS ranks that I believe can be a very great addition to the team as well. And they beefed up in the trenches on the offensive line. 2 players I highlighted in this little video clip of mine, this little photo, was Vince Scurry from Toledo and Davion Carter from Memphis. They're both high-graded offensive linemen on the interior that both started many games for their former programs in Memphis and Toledo, and they're very high-graded according to PFF. And the final player I want to talk about that is going to add to a young but talented receiving room is Josh Kelly from Washington State. He was a star for the Cougars last season, and he has high production. He's a high-level player, and he's going to bring experience to that room and be a vet that can be a leader on the field and off the field for that room. Staying in the Big 12 for this next team, I'm going to be talking about Houston. Houston is currently ranked number 27 in the 24/7 Sports transfer portal team rankings with 1 4-star and 17 total 3-star commits. Now, in their 2023 campaign, their first year in the Big 12, they had their fair share of bumps in the road. Daniel Holgerson would end up being fired at year's end. The offense struggled to score, especially in Big 12 play. They ranked 90th in scoring offense, 108th on scoring defense. They went 4-8 and had a conference record of 2-7. So what did they do? They would end up hiring rising Tulane coach that was coming off 2 great seasons with that Tulane program and rebuilding that program in none other than Willie Fritz. Houston did add some players I believe can be some high-impact players for them for not only this season but future seasons as well. One player that I don't have featured in this photo is Zion Chris from Louisiana Lafayette to Houston, which he could be someone that could make an impact in 2024 for the Cougars, battling that spot out with Donovan Smith, but more so is going to be a long-term guy for them down the road. However, let's look at some of the people I have featured in this photo. Like Malik Carr, tight end from Michigan State. This is a player that I was already really high on. When I made a video about the transfer portal a month ago back, I mentioned Malik Carr. I thought he was a very good tight end from Michigan State. Is an athletic tight end, used to be a receiver. I think he has very high upside and can be a very valuable weapon for the Cougars in 2024. Not only that, but they added a top Tulane defensive player in linebacker Corey Platt Jr. that I believe is going to be a shoe-in fit for that defense in 2024. Not only that, but they're also adding some speed and great special teams player in Mekhi Muse from Georgia, who was a starter on special teams for them and a star at that, having a high level of production. I also believe he can play some at receiver on the field as well, which he didn't do as much at Georgia, but I believe there's an avenue to do that at Houston, which he is a speedster. He is a smaller receiver, but he is a speedster at that, and he does have barn burner speed. And one last player I want to talk about, I'd like to talk about the trenches, especially in the portal, as that seems to be a top priority for many teams out there. And why not Jake Wiley? He was a backup at UCLA this past season, but he did start 2 seasons at Colorado and does have a lot of starting experience. He is a guy who has experience on the O-line and Power 5 level at that, and I believe he can be an impact for the Cougars in 2024. Going into the Big Ten for this next team, I'm going to be talking about Wisconsin. Wisconsin, currently in the 24/7 Sports Transfer Portal team rankings, ranks as the number 19 transfer portal class, according to 24/7 Sports, with a total of 12 commits, 3 of which being 4 stars, 8 of which being 3, and 1 player currently being unranked. In their 2023 campaign, their first year in the Luke Fickell era, I would say didn't go the way that some people envisioned, but they still had a shot to get into the Big Ten championship game because of the Big Ten West side being, well, the Big Ten West, but they finished 7-6. Some players that I highlighted for Wisconsin in this photo slide, if you will, is quarterback Tyler Van Dyke from Miami. Even though he did have his fair share of ups and downs these last couple seasons as the quarterback at Miami, I think he ultimately did have somewhat of a comeback season from his 2022 year, and he did show a lot of promise in 2021, being, I would say, one of the top quarterbacks in all of the ACC and college football. There's a lot of potential in his game still to be a good, serviceable college football quarterback, and I believe Wisconsin's system can be a system that he can thrive in ultimately. They also added a running back in Tawee Walker from Oklahoma. He is a running back that I believe is very underrated. Is he the flashiest running back in the transfer portal, or the quote-unquote flashiest running back in college football that's going to burn you for 95 yards down the field? No, but that's also very rare in those instances. Tawee Walker is a power back, but he's also someone that's very hard to take down. He was highly productive at Oklahoma this past season when he actually got the ball into his hands, but Oklahoma seemed to be more so an RBC, a running back by committee, and well, now he has an opportunity to possibly be the lead guy for Wisconsin the entire season in 2024. Not only that, but they're adding a promising young linebacker in Tackett Curtis. I know he had some penalty problems at USC. We had a lot of experience as a true freshman playing for them, showing a lot of potential and a lot of promise, and ultimately is going to be a good long-term player for the Badgers. And a final player I want to highlight for this class is John Pius, edge from William & Mary, one of the top pass rushers in all of FCS football, and he's a player that I think is going to be a shoe-in fit for this Wisconsin defense. Transitioning on to the next team, I'm going to talk about it's Oklahoma, as they rank currently at number 30 in the 24/7 Sports team transfer portal rankings with 12 commits, 3 of which being 4 stars and 8 of which being 3 stars and 1 not being currently ranked. Oklahoma is coming off a good 2023 season, I would say, as they did reach the 10-win mark after going 6-7 in 2022. Although they may not be bringing in some of the most players in the nation, like some of these teams like Ole Miss bring in nearly 20 players, or Colorado bring in 20-plus players, they don't necessarily have to. But I would say their transfer portal class is quite underrated itself, as I would say it's really highlighted by wide receiver Deion Burks from Purdue, who I believe can be potentially one of the best receivers in all of college football. He's rated as one of the top players in the transfer portal, and I would say rightfully so. But not only that, they also got one of the top FCS running backs from UT Martin in Sam Franklin, a highly predictive running back that went over the 1,000-yard mark in 2023 and was one of the top guys on the FCS level, adding to that running back room. They also added a lot on the offensive line. A player on my highlight is Fepsi Nawawu. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. From UNT. He is an offensive guard, which I believe is a position they really needed on that offensive line, as they did lose a lot to the NFL draft and did lose some depth at that position to the transfer portal. And he's someone that was also highly productive at UNT, although was kind of banged up in 2023. In 2022, he was a freshman All-American. And a final player I want to highlight is defensive lineman Caden Woolard from Miami, Ohio. He was a highly productive player at Miami, Ohio, and he's coming off his best season on the collegiate level from 2023. And I believe this is already adding to a good defensive end room that has a lot of potential for the Sooners in 2024. The last team I'm going to be talking about in today's video, I'm going to show some Group of 5 love and talk about Tulane. Tulane currently has 13 transfer portal commits, 1 being a 4-star, 6 being 3s, and the rest being unranked. And they have the number 54 transfer portal class according to 24/7 Sports as of the recording of this video, and they're coming off back-to-back strong seasons on the collegiate level, one of which winning their conference and beating USC in a New Year's Six Bowl, and most recently going to their conference championship and having an 11-win season. However, they're going to be entering a new era with a new head coach. But let's talk about their transfer portal haul that they've had so far. Some players I want to highlight in this transfer portal class for Tulane. Obviously, it's going to be a few guys that are former Power 5 players transferring down to Tulane, like a Ty Thompson from Oregon. Now, he hasn't really had the most productivity on the college level, mainly because, well, he's been a backup quarterback to this point in his career, but he is a former highly touted quarterback, and he has shown some things on the field, especially this current, or I guess previous 2023 college football season. And I believe with this new opportunity at Tulane, of course, there's going to be a quarterback battle. There always is. If he wins it, I believe he's going to show people that he can be a starting level college football quarterback. And taking another look at another player in Mario Williams, a highly touted recruit coming out of high school, had some early productivity at Oklahoma, had some early productivity at USC, but ultimately kind of got lost in the shuffle of that, I would say, deep USC wide receiver room in 2023. And now with Tulane, the style of receiver that he is, I feel like he's going to have a lot of opportunities to have the ball in his hands and be an immediate impact player for the Green Wave. Another big-time receiver that they got from the portal that was a former highly touted recruit coming from the SEC levels of Alabama in Shaz Preston. Now, obviously, the production hasn't really been there in college, as he's been a backup. I believe this is an opportunity that can bring out the best of him and potentially be a big play type of player for the Green Wave in 2024. But I don't want to just highlight the guys that are coming from the Power 5 level to the Group of 5 level. I want to highlight one guy that I believe can be a great cornerback, a great secondary member for the Green Wave in 2024, and that's Micah Robinson from Ferrum. As he was a great player for them this past season. He's been a great player for them his entire time there. And I think he's actually a very underrated player in the transfer portal as is. He's not the highest rated player in the portal with an 85 grade, but I think he's someone that can make a lot of noise in not only the American Conference, but also college football as well as a member of Tulane. Well guys, if you made this far in today's video, drop something down in the comment section below what videos you want to see on the channel in the future. And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly out.